Hi, I'm Jade, and I want to thank you for joining me today for my trigger point series. And today we're going to be discussing and going over trigger points of the calf and how to massage the calf. First, I want to start by explaining what a trigger point is. It's typically an area in the body when a pressure is applied, it sends referral pain to other parts of the body. It'll be tender. So for example, these are two trigger points, and when they refer, the pain will bloom out and can sometimes go to the back of the knee or travel down. So trigger points send pain elsewhere. It's not always right where the issue is. So when I hit a trigger point on someone, they may feel it somewhere else in their body. So today we're going to go over the calf. And before you start hitting any major trigger points, it's important to warm up the muscles. So. And something to keep in mind when doing trigger point work is communication with your client. It's actually the most important part because it can be very painful sometimes when you do trigger point work. So you want to check in with your client and always ask. I may not ask Julia a lot, but when you're working on your clients, make sure you communicate. So I do a few different, just long fluid strokes to warm up the muscles, and then we're gonna work on the calf. So I like to do a few Thai massage moves. So the muscles that we're kind of focusing on when you're talking about the calf is the gastrocnemius and the soleus muscle. The gastroc is right here. And the soleus, if you pulled back the muscle, would be underneath and also lies on the side. So on the side here. Another thing is good communication. So there may be a trigger point you hit within the muscle, and the client will tell you, oh, that really hurts. So you may hold it a little bit longer. Two ways to hold points. Some people like to use their thumbs. I'm a fan of the elbow, so you'll see me using my elbow a lot. Is that all right? Okay. So my philosophy with trigger point work is hold it until the client tells you the pain is lessened a little bit. But sometimes you, as the therapist, can feel the muscles melt below your finger or your thumb, whatever you're using. So you want to kind of really listen and pay attention to the body. So it's a lot. Sometimes it'll feel like a lot of just waiting and sitting, but I find trigger point is extremely beneficial because you don't have to do as much work. It's just kind of resting on that muscle and shutting off the connection from the brain to the muscle that keeps telling the body to tighten that muscle, stay tight. And when you shut off the connection with trigger point, it causes the muscle to relax. So then when I go to move, it's an ever so slight move, just a little bit down, and then I reapply a little bit more pressure. At this point, you might want to check in with your client, ask them, how's that feel? Is that too much? They want to be able to continue to breathe and stay relaxed. And you will find some clients may not communicate with you enough, but some key things to pay attention to is their toes curling or making fists, or their hips will rise off the table. And then you just keep working down. I kind of like to do some trigger point work straight through the belly of the gastroc muscle. And I also like to encourage my clients to continue breathing because that helps bring oxygen to the muscles, and it'll help the muscle release better than if they were holding their breath. Some therapists don't really like trigger point work because it can feel very boring. As you can see, I haven't moved very much. You'd be amazed how much you can get done in 20 minutes just working trigger points. It'll help loosen up muscles, release maybe some pain a client may have, and it also helps affect other parts of the body because of the referral pain. A big key is using your own weight, so you're dropping through the center when you do this. It's not so much of pushing of your arm, but dropping of your weight. And now as you get down to the tendon, you do not want to put pressure on the tendon around here. It'll be very uncomfortable for the client, so instead I like to strip the sides with my thumbs. I like to just do one side and then the other, like this. Now, if you had a client come in and they were only having pain in one leg or one calf, I would still encourage you to do a little bit of work on the other leg, not to the degree of trigger point work you may do on the one that's affected and that's giving you problems, but it's good to even both of them out. So right now I'm going to show you how to do some trigger point with the thumbs. So right here is one, you can just kind of lean in. You never want to do this motion or this. It's kind of more of a straight down because it'll affect your joints, and that's not good. This is kind of why I'm a fan of the elbow work. The downside to using the elbow, just to be aware if you're doing trigger point work, is that you may not feel the muscle release as well or feel the bony landmarks and things as well as you would if you were using your hand. Experience and time, you will eventually learn, and it'll come like second nature, and you won't worry so much about what you're feeling. You'll just know where things are. Another technique with trigger point is just holding it for like 3 seconds and then releasing. That is another way that people like to use it. Because as I've said, trigger point work can become painful. So if you're new to it and you want to just give it a try, just hit the few trigger points I've mentioned here, here, and then down the belly if you want. And don't hold them for a long period. And then see maybe if you notice any difference or your client notices anything, an improvement. And I'm sometimes a fan, and not a lot of people do this, is hitting 2 trigger points at once. And when you've hit the points you want, make sure you kind of do some flushing movements with your hands. I'm going to show you some trigger points on the outside of the leg next, so we'll move over to the other leg to do so you can see that. I typically, when I get over to this other leg, I'm going to show you, I would actually be standing directly in front of it, but we're going to do it at an angle so you can actually see. So always make sure you warm up the muscle before you start doing any trigger points. And I try to limit the too much use of lotion or oil with trigger points because you'll slip. A way around that, sometimes if you feel like you have too much oil, is to throw the sheet or a towel over it and just work through that. So trigger points from the side you could hit are usually here and here, and here and here. And as always, you can do this side lying, having the client with the leg facing up, but I like to just put some pressure on it. And as always, communicate with your client. And then I like to strip up it. And sometimes when people have calf stuff, trigger point pain, different things like that, I will tell them about rolling up a yoga mat and then sitting back in hero pose on the yoga mat. So it's laying just like this, and it'll put pressure in the points for them. Always neat everything up. And you can come back and hit those trigger points multiple times if you wish, as long as it's comfortable for the person on the table. As always, make sure to keep communicating whether they're having any discomfort. In the legs, the body, there's specific trigger points, and there's also tender spots. So if there's a tender spot and the client's feeling referral pain at all, hang out there for a while. That always helps a little bit, and there's not really anything wrong you could do. It's more about the communication and the tolerance of the client's pain. And then do some flushing. I always like to do both legs at the same time and then gently pull, flat of palm up, grip either side, pull straight down, and end like that. And that's a perfect way you can incorporate this into your already existing routine by hitting these specific trigger points. If your client, say, is a runner or comes in and saying, my calves, I was walking for 4 hours yesterday, and that can help release these things. I want to thank you so much for joining me today for this trigger point series. You can see the rest of it on Wellness Plus or on Amazon Prime. Thank you, and know I'm always rooting for your health.
With hundreds of videos that you can stream on virtually any device to help you reduce stress, lose weight, or just improve your health and well-being overall. At wellnessplus.tv, we are dedicated to helping you on your health and wellness journey. Join wellnessplus.tv to find hundreds of videos to help you improve the health of your body and your mind. wellnessplus.tv. Get well, feel better.